Have you ever felt like you're running on a hamster wheel, chasing something you can't quite name? Maybe it's that gnawing anxiety that creeps in at 3 a.m., whispering, "You're not enough." Or that moment when you snap at someone you love, and later you're left wondering, why the heck did I do that? Perhaps it's the quiet dread that life is slipping by and you're not you. If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. And no, you're not broken. You're just caught in a trap, one that's been inside you all along, silently pulling the strings. What if I told you there's a hidden part of your mind, a dark, messy, fascinating part that's been running the show without you even noticing? It's not your fault. Nobody taught you how to look at it. But ignoring it, that's like driving blindfolded on a highway. You're going to crash, over and over. And you'll call it bad luck, bad timing, or just life. But it's not. It's your psyche screaming for attention. Hi, welcome to Emorations, the channel where we dive deep into the messy, beautiful chaos of being human. I'm your guide, and today we're not just scratching the surface, we're diving into the deep end of your mind with one of the greatest thinkers of all time, Carl Gustav Jung. This isn't just a video about psychology, it's a wake-up call, a mirror, a map to the parts of yourself you've been avoiding your whole life. And trust me, once you see what Jung saw, you'll never look at yourself or the world the same way again. So, grab a coffee, take a deep breath, and let's get into it, because this is the ultimate guide to Carl Jung and why you'll never be free until you face this truth. Let's start with a story. Picture this. Sarah's a 32-year-old marketing manager. She's got a great job, a cute apartment, and an Instagram feed that screams, "I've got it together." But inside, she's a wreck. She's snapping at her co-workers over tiny mistakes, ghosting her friends because she's too drained to talk, and lying awake at night wondering why she feels so stuck. She blames her boss, her ex, the economy, maybe even Mercury being in retrograde. Sound familiar? Maybe you're not Sarah, but you've had those moments where life feels like it's conspiring against you. Here's the kicker. Sarah isn't fighting the world, she's fighting herself. Or more specifically, she's fighting a part of herself she doesn't even know exists. And this is where Carl Jung comes in. Jung wasn't just some dusty old psychologist with a beard and a pipe. He was a rebel, a visionary, a guy who looked at the human soul and said, there's more to us than we think. He didn't just want to fix your anxiety or patch up your relationships. He wanted to help you understand why you're anxious, why you keep choosing the same toxic partners, why you feel like a stranger in your own life. Jung once said, the only real danger that exists is man himself. That's heavy, right? But think about it. The world's chaotic, sure, but the real chaos? It's inside you. Your fears, your anger, your regrets, they're not just random emotions, they're signals, clues. And Jung gave us the tools to decode them. Let's rewind to 1875, a small town in Switzerland. A kid named Carl Jung grows up in a house full of religious vibes, quiet tension, and a dad who's a pastor but secretly wrestling with his own doubts. Young Carl's sensitive, curious, maybe a little weird. He's having vivid dreams, seeing things that don't make sense, feeling stuff he can't explain. He's not like the other kids and he knows it. That sense of something more sticks with him, and it's what drives him to become one of the most revolutionary minds in psychology. Jung could have been just another doctor prescribing pills and calling it a day, but he wasn't about that life. He wanted to know what makes us human. He studied with Sigmund Freud, the guy who said everything in your head boils down to sex and repression. Jung was like, Sigmund, I think there's more to it. They had a massive falling out. Think of it like the ultimate academic breakup. Freud wanted to focus on your childhood traumas. Jung, he zoomed out, way out. He looked at myths, religions, dreams, even ancient alchemy, and said, the human mind isn't just personal,
It's connected to something bigger, something universal. Jung called his approach analytical psychology, and it's not about slapping a band-aid on your problems, it's about diving into the deep, murky waters of your psyche and coming back with treasure. He believed that to be truly free, you need to face the parts of yourself you've buried, the parts you're scared of, the parts you pretend don't exist. And that's where the real adventure begins. Let's get to one of Jung's wildest ideas, the collective unconscious. This is where things get trippy, so stick with me. You probably think your mind is like a private diary, right? Full of your memories, your traumas, your dreams. But Jung said not so fast. Your mind is more like an island floating on a massive, invisible ocean, one that's shared by every human being who has ever lived. This ocean is the collective unconscious. It's not just your personal experiences, it's a deep reservoir of symbols, stories, and instincts that go back thousands of years. Think of it like the DNA of your psyche. It's why people across cultures who've never met tell similar stories. The hero's journey, the wise old sage, the trickster who stirs up trouble. It's why you feel a chill when you hear an ancient myth or see a symbol you've never seen before. It's why certain images like a snake, a tree, or a dark cave pop up in your dreams and hit you right in the gut.
Let me make this real for you. Imagine you're at a party and you meet someone who gives you bad vibes. You can't explain it, but something about them screams danger. That's not just your gut. That's the collective unconscious whispering, tapping into a primal instinct that's been keeping humans alive for millennia. Or think about why you're drawn to certain movies or books. Ever cried during a scene where a hero sacrifices everything? That's the collective unconscious resonating with the archetype of the hero, hardwired into your soul. Jung said this ocean of shared symbols shapes how you think, feel, and act, whether you know it or not. And ignoring it? That's like ignoring the tide when you're swimming. It'll pull you under. So how do you navigate this ocean? That's where archetypes come in. Okay, let's talk about archetypes. These are the characters that live in the collective unconscious, and they're not just ideas, they're forces. Think of them as the directors of your life's movie, calling the shots behind the scenes. Jung identified a bunch of them, but let's focus on a few big ones. First up, the hero. This is the part of you that wants to slay dragons, conquer challenges, and prove you're worth something. It's why you push through a tough workout or stay up all night to finish a project. But here's the catch. If the hero takes over, you might burn out trying to save everyone else while ignoring your own needs. Then there's the wise old man or woman. This is your inner Yoda, the voice that knows what's up, guiding you toward truth. Ever had a gut feeling that saved you from a bad decision? That's the wise one talking. But if you ignore it, you might end up lost, chasing shiny distractions. And let's not forget the trickster. This archetype loves chaos, shaking things up just to see what happens. It's the part of you that makes a snarky comment in a tense meeting or impulsively buys that plane ticket to Bali. The trickster can be fun, but if it's running the show, you might end up in hot water. Now here's a story to bring this home. Meet Jake, a 28-year-old graphic designer. Jake's always been the funny guy at work, cracking jokes to lighten the mood. Classic trickster energy. But lately, he's been blowing deadlines, dodging tough conversations, and feeling like nobody takes him seriously. Why? Because the trickster archetype is driving his life and he doesn't even know it. He's not choosing his actions, they're choosing him. Jung would say Jake needs to recognize this archetype, rein it in, and balance it with something like the wise one to get his life back on track. Archetypes aren't good or bad, they're just part of you. But when you're unaware of them, they can hijack your decisions. Ever fall for someone who's all wrong for you? Over and over? That's an archetype at work, replaying an old script. The trick is to spot these patterns, name them, and take back the wheel.
Now, let's get to the scariest part of Jung's map, the shadow. This is the part of you that you don't want to admit exists. It's your anger, your jealousy, your selfishness, your shame, all the stuff you've shoved into a mental closet because it's too ugly to face. But here's the thing. The shadow doesn't stay locked away. It leaks out. It shows up when you lose your temper over something small, when you judge someone harshly, or when you sabotage your own success. Let me tell you about Lisa. Lisa's a sweetheart, always helping her friends, always smiling. But deep down, she's furious. She's mad at her parents for never listening, at her co-workers for taking credit, at herself for never speaking up. She buries that anger, thinking it's bad, but it doesn't go away. It comes out as passive-aggressive comments, as resentment that poisons her relationships, as that voice in her head that says, "You'll never be good enough." That's her shadow talking. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The shadow is the ultimate proof of that. The more you deny it, the stronger it gets. It's why you keep dating the same kind of jerk, why you procrastinate on your dreams, why you feel stuck in a loop of self-sabotage. The shadow isn't your enemy, it's a part of you, and it's begging to be seen. Here's a quick story to lighten the mood. My friend Mike once told me about a time he got so mad at a coworker for stealing his idea. He didn't say anything, just stewed in silence. But that night, he had a dream about punching a faceless guy in a boardroom. Classic shadow move. When he told me, I laughed and said, "Dude, your shadow's trying to start a fight club." But it got him thinking. He started journaling about his anger, owning it instead of hiding it. And guess what? He finally spoke up at work, got credit for his ideas, and felt lighter than he had in years. The shadow isn't just destruction, it's raw energy. It's the fire you need to stand up for yourself, to create, to live boldly. But you can't use it until you face it. And facing it, that's where the real work begins. So, how do you stop being a puppet to your shadow or your archetypes? Jung had a word for it: individuation. This is the process of becoming whole, of integrating all the messy, contradictory parts of yourself into something real. It's not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming you. Individuation is like a hero's journey. You start by facing your shadow, owning the parts of yourself you've rejected. Then you wrestle with your archetypes, learning to balance their energies. And finally, you connect with what Jung called the self, the deepest, truest part of you, the spark that's been there all along.
Let's go back to Sarah, our stressed-out marketing manager. She starts noticing her patterns, snapping at people, feeling drained, avoiding tough conversations. She reads about Jung and decides to try something radical. She starts journaling her dreams. One night, she dreams of a dark forest with a glowing light in the distance. She realizes the forest is her fear and the light is her courage. She starts therapy, talks about her anger, and begins saying no to things that drain her. Slowly, she's not just surviving, she's living. That's individuation in action. This process isn't easy. It's messy. It hurts. You'll have to let go of old beliefs, old relationships, old versions of yourself. But every time you face a piece of your shadow, every time you listen to a dream, every time you choose honesty over comfort, you're one step closer to freedom. Let's talk about dreams, because Jung thought they were a big deal. You might think dreams are just your brain processing last night's pizza, but Jung saw them as messages from your unconscious. They're like postcards from your soul, written in a language of symbols. Ever dream of falling? That's your psyche saying, hey, you're losing control. Ever dream of a snake? That could be transformation knocking. Dreams aren't random, they're your unconscious trying to balance things out. If you're too rigid in your waking life, your dreams might throw in some chaos. If you're ignoring your anger, you might dream of a raging bull. Here's a practical tip. Keep a dream journal. Write down what you dream, even if it's weird. Look for recurring symbols, a house, a road, a stranger. Then ask yourself, what does this mean to me? You don't need a PhD in psychology to do this. Just be curious. Over time, you'll start to see patterns, and those patterns are clues to what your soul's trying to tell you. Let's bring this into 2025. We're living in a world that's louder, faster, and more disconnected than ever. Social media's got us comparing our lives to filtered fantasies. Work's got us grinding until we burn out, and somewhere in the noise, we've lost touch with who we are. Jung saw this coming. He warned that when we ignore our inner world, we end up empty, anxious, and lost. Look around. Anxiety's through the roof, relationships are crumbling, people are chasing likes instead of meaning. Jung's ideas aren't just old theories, they're a lifeline. He's telling us to stop running, to turn inward, to listen to the whispers of our soul, because the answers aren't out there in the next job, the next relationship, or the next scroll. They're inside you.
So what now? You've heard about Jung, the collective unconscious, the shadow, archetypes, and individuation. It's a lot, I know, but you don't have to figure it all out today. You just need to take one step. Here's how to start. Notice your patterns. Next time you're angry, jealous, or stuck, ask yourself, what's really going on here? Is it your shadow? An archetype? Just being curious is a huge step. Write down your dreams. Get a notebook. Jot down what you remember. Look for symbols and ask what they might mean. Be honest with yourself. Stop pretending you're fine when you're not. Admit what you're afraid of, what you're ashamed of. That's where the healing starts. Find support. Therapy, journaling, or even talking to a trusted friend can help you face your shadow and start individuating. Last story. My cousin Anna was always the perfect one. Great grades, great job, great smile. But she was miserable. She started reading Jung, and one day she told me, I realized I've been living for everyone else. I don't even know who I am. She started therapy, faced some ugly truths about her resentment, and slowly started living for herself. Now she's not perfect, she's real, and she's never been happier. This video isn't just about Carl Jung, it's about you. It's about the parts of you that are screaming to be seen, to be heard, to be integrated. You're not broken, you're not doomed, you're just unconscious. And the moment you start waking up, everything changes. So, here's my challenge to you. Comment below, what's one thing in your life that feels like a pattern you can't break? Maybe it's a fear, a habit, or a relationship dynamic. Just naming it is a step toward making the unconscious conscious. And if this video hit home, hit that subscribe button and join the Emorations community. We're all on this journey together. Oh, and one more thing. If you want to dive deeper into Jung's ideas, check out my ebook, Beyond the Shadows, linked in the pinned comment. It's packed with practical tools to start your own individuation journey. Thanks for watching, and remember, the greatest adventure isn't out there, it's inside you. Until next time, keep diving deep.